What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another video today, and in this video we are doing the 94th installment of Retro Reviews. Today we're going to be reviewing my Dragon Wings 1/400 scale United Airlines Douglas DC-10-10 in the Friendship livery. This is another one of the retro models where I've always wanted it, but it was never really a high priority item. But when I saw this at the Squatchies diecast hangar table at Airliners International 2025 for the price of 65 bucks, I thought about it for a couple minutes, and I'm like, what the heck, this is a really nice model, so I might as well get it, because I'm going to regret not buying it later, as I've done so in the past on numerous occasions. So very happy to add another DC-10. This is my 6th of the type in my collection, which I'm very happy about. Now I've got a Delta example, I have a FedEx MD-10, and also DC-10 in the purple livery, which I've also reviewed. I've got a Continental one, a Sun Country one, and try to make sure I have I'll count it right. So the United Friendship's the newest one alongside the Continental Globe. Got the two FedExes, the Sun Country, but anyway, that is the DC-10 fleet that I have, and I'd certainly love to grow this type as well, since it's a very iconic aircraft, despite some of the issues that it had early in its life, but eventually became more reputable over time. So to start off, we have the Dragon Wings box with the United Blue Tulip logo. This was released in 2003, so that was their current logo. $65 price tag right there, and then there's an image of the aircraft. DC-10-10, 1/400 Premier Collection, and then the United licensing disclaimer, so Dragon Wings did get licensing for this, which is cool. On the bottom, you have the item number 55496, DC-10-10, United logo, image of the plane. On this side, just the copyright information for 2003, and then the top of the box and the right side. So standard box design here, but obviously swapping out the images and aircraft logos and aircraft type information with each release. So yeah, United DC-10. Yeah, this is my first one, since I don't have a Sawbass example. I do want to get one with the larger titles, since I like that iteration of the Sawbass livery, and I know that livery on the DC-10, it's recognizable in many facets, but that was also the livery that the DC-10 that crashed in Sioux City wore at the time in '89. I know there seems to be some confusion between whether or not it happened in Sioux City or Sioux Falls, but it was actually Sioux City, Iowa. They're about an hour apart, so I've noticed that over the years that there is some confusion, and like even when I Google, if I just do some searching online about the crash, and sometimes I put in United 232 Sioux Falls or something, then it will show up, but obviously most sources will correctly list it as happening in Sioux City. So that's something that I've noticed over the years. But yeah, but on the topic of that Sawbass livery, just moving away from the actual crash itself, it is a model that I would love to get, and hopefully I'll be able to. I know Aero Classics did one a couple years ago. That one I've yet to get, but I think that one is very difficult to find now, so we'll have to be on the hunt for it at a later date. But there we go, United DC-10 Friendship livery. Probably my favorite United livery from the pre-Sawbass days anyway. I like all the United liveries pretty much equally, maybe some more than others, but this one definitely suits the DC-10 well, especially for the time. So to start off, we have the nose cone, cockpit windows, there's the L1 door, and then we got the 4 stars. Also got called the Stars and Bars livery, which is what that A320 has with the retro livery. There's a couple panel details there, nose gear door, and the nose gear, pretty basic. And this is Dragon Wings we're talking about, so not the most detailed in the world, but definitely sufficient for some. L2 door, and you see the United and the DC-10 Friendship titles right there. I think it was after the initial set of incidents took place with this type, United removed any sort of references to the DC-10 in a similar fashion to how American Airlines, when they titled these as the DC-10 luxury liners, they removed any references to the type from their aircraft so that the average traveler wouldn't be able to tell, even though I'm sure some media outlets would put out guides on how to identify specific aircraft types, what to look for, and what differentiates, a DC-10 from an L-1011 in this case. I'm sure that happened back then, but I don't know too much about that. So Moving on, we got the lovely engines right there. These should be of the CF6 engine variant. United having those engines there. The CF6-6Ks present on this particular airframe, looking good, but obviously very basic with the details there. There's an overwing exit door there. Main landing gear, which do tilt a little bit, but that's just more of the, I guess, the pliability of the plastic gear rather than, actually it being a feature, since once I tilt it up a certain ways, then the gear starts to pivot upward too. Another panel and the registration November 1802 uniform right there, and the rear boarding door. You also get the United tail there, the 4 stars on the engine, and then the United tail up above. And then moving over to the other side, you see the right side doors along with the various luggage doors and other panel details featured on that side. Looking pretty good. Pretty detailed for a 2003 model, I would say. But you're lacking various antennas and all that. Underneath, you do find the standard Dragon Wings details. You have the stand hole, which is just a separate piece from the fuselage. The wings are essentially slot in, so Dragon Wings was the first to do this. And then the top there, no beacon light present whatsoever, and all that fun stuff. Very lovely DC-10-10. And the other of this type that I acquired at the Airliner show, I did the Continental DC-10 retro review a few weeks ago, if you want to go check that out as well. That globe livery does stick out really well on the DC-10 for Continental, and certainly would like to get one in the meatball livery there, and then get a DC-10 for United with the Sawbass livery. So now let's take a look at the real-life aircraft's history. This aircraft first flew on March 8th of 1971, and this particular airframe had the distinction of being the first DC-10 delivered to United on July the 29th of 1971. She was the 6th DC-10 off the production line. November 1801 uniform didn't get delivered until May of 1972. That one was the 4th DC-10 off the production line. So a very distinct airframe that Dragon Wings chose to replicate here, and that's obviously why they made it. So very nice details there. She flew with United for 26 years, all the way up until November of 1997. Presumably she might have gone all the way up to battleship grade, but I did look through some photos of her, and I saw some photos of when she was in storage, and it just has the Sawbass livery, so I don't think she made it to wearing the battleship grade livery before being retired from the fleet, because by that point she was already 26 years old, and United was already starting to phase out the DC-10 in favor of some of their other aircraft, like the 777 and some 747-400s in some cases. So she went to FedEx then to fly as a freighter, re-registered to November 365 Foxtrot Echo, and was given the name Joey. She was converted to the MD-10 standard in September of 2006. It's basically just an upgraded DC-10 on the inside for those that aren't familiar with it. One of the big things it does is it removes the flight engineer position in the cockpit, so you only need 2 people to fly this aircraft instead of 3 like it was originally. And she flew the rest of her career with FedEx, being flown to Victorville for storage in 2019, and that is where she has been since. No updates if this airframe has been scrapped yet. And that will do it for this episode of Retro Reviews. With that being said, thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.